Welcome to the new podcast. Today's topic is going to be about these people that come to my chat, for example, and they're like, I wish I could be as good as you, but I just don't have the talent. And anytime I hear or like see someone say this, I'm just like, bruh, come on. Like, I don't think you guys realize that I used to suck. I used to be very bad at FPS games. Like, before Overwatch, I was a default Sensandy, and at the start of Overwatch, still I was a default Sensandy. But yeah, basically, like before Overwatch, I was playing, for example, Team Fortress 2. I didn't play any aiming characters. I was more just like a melee demo man slash spy player. And I played some planet side, and I was very bad at aiming. I had like maybe even like just 1 KD or something. And my point is that I was just very bad. Like I didn't care about any part of my setup. I just sit down to play with default settings, and I think that's what most of you guys do as well. But my point here is this: like, it's not the talent. Like, I don't really think that I have talent. Maybe I do have some talent, but we'll get to that later. So it's like, before Overwatch, I sucked, and then Overwatch came out, and I was just kind of playing tank, and there was no competitive mode yet. And then competitive mode came out, and I really wanted to improve. Like, I wanted to climb, I wanted to win, I wanted to be on the top of the leaderboards. And I started Googling all these guides and stuff, and the biggest thing that I found out that was like the turning point was mouse sensitivity. Like, my sensitivity was, I think, 10 or 15. So I lowered it all the way down to 6, which I think is still a bit too high. But either way, that was already ridiculous instant improvement. Like, I felt like I was in control of if I'm going to hit a shot or not. Like, if I don't hit a shot, it's because my aim sucks. But with my default sense, I was kind of just not even bothered to think about if I missed a shot because I suck, or if I missed a shot because my target is aware of me about to shoot him. It was just completely brainless, just kind of hoping that if I just shoot some arrows there, maybe they land. And so then I fixed my sensitivity, and I was like, okay, I need to find the best character. So I just kind of went with the mathematical point of view, like, okay, I want the character that deals the most damage, like fastest time to kill. So, okay, I should go with a sniper hero. So do I go with a Widow, or do I go with Hanzo? And obviously Hanzo, especially back then, you had scatter arrow, so you could one-shot even tanks. And both Hanzo and Widow had a wall hack, but Hanzo had it as an ability instead of an ultimate. And on top of that, you have a team wipe ultimate that can kill the whole enemy team. So the choice was just obvious to me. I'm gonna play Hanzo because that is the best hero. The only weakness is no escape ability or self-healing. Like, back then there was no lunge, so you could kind of escape from dive. But yeah, so I stuck with Hanzo. And I got a lot of hate, obviously, and I wasn't that good at the start of competitive mode, but I started improving rapidly because I got such an intense need to just get better at the game, because I wanted to prove everyone wrong. I wanted to climb to the top, and I feel like my biggest strength was just that I placed my value as a person on how good I was on this character. So it just gave me this immense energy reserve to just keep pushing. And I don't know how healthy it was. I don't think it's definitely not healthy to place your value as a person on how good you are on a gaming character. Whenever I would have a bad day, instead of going to sleep, I would just go into practice range and shoot at the bots for maybe even 3 hours. Just kind of as a half punishment to myself. And just because I was so upset about missing my shots and playing badly that I just wanted to okay, I'm just gonna go to the practice range, and as long as I hit 200 bots headshots in a row without missing even one, then I can go to sleep. And I would do stuff like this all the time, and I would even like cry sometimes if I played really badly, or if I just got a lot of hate, or like a combination of that. And yeah, it was definitely not healthy. But what I'm trying to say is that there's so many people that just brush off my skills as talent, that I was somehow born with this. But like, I used to be probably worse than you, but I just put insane effort. I burned out in university. I felt like a loser, and like I just wanted to find something that made me like feel good about myself, that I actually am not completely useless. So I just started really tryharding in Overwatch, and like I was in a very dark place, and like it gets a bit depressing. But yeah, basically, even like I had insane social anxiety back then, and like I really wanted to always stream, but I never could bring myself to it. I started making my first YouTube videos, and like there was a lot of comments, and someone asked for tips, and I spent like 40 minutes just replying to this one message, because I didn't want to say something dumb or have people laugh at me. But yeah, so I got to like the worst point of my life during this time, and I just felt like I'm a complete failure. And like I never wanted to stream because I thought people would just laugh at me. But then, you know, I'm a failure. I deserve to be laughed at. So I just boot up my stream that I had set up like a couple of months ago, and then chickened out from the streaming. And everyone was nice. And I was just like mind blown. Like everyone was nice. People were talking to me. They wanted to play with me. They wanted to like hang out with me. They wanted to add me as a friend. And that's just like kind of cemented this, that okay, I need to become the best Hanzo, because this is the first time I feel truly happy. And I kind of just dropped everything. Like I was burned out. I burned out in university, so I was on sick leave. And I just started grinding, and I decided that I'm just never gonna study again, because this makes me happy. And so that's also a part of like why I would be a lot better than you guys. It's like I could spend my whole day and whole night grinding Overwatch. But like you shouldn't get discouraged like, oh well, I don't have that much time, because I'd say for at least the first 5,000 gameplay hours, like I think I have like almost 7,000 now, but the first 5,000 hours, I just put barely any effort. Like I did figure out my setup, like I got a good mouse pad, but I didn't even care about my desk height or chair height or backrest angle or anything like that. And I was just kind of playing, and I just thought to myself, like, if I just keep banging my head against the wall, eventually the wall will break and I will improve, you know? But, and it kind of did happen. But if I was like trying to improve as efficiently as I am now, I would have probably needed like 20 to 30% of that time that I used. Like instead of 5,000 hours, I would have needed like a bit over 1,000 hours to reach that same level. If I knew what I know now, and if I like was more in tune with my body like I am now. And with that I mean like just so that I know that, okay, I feel exhausted now, so I'm gonna play worse. So I'm not gonna start blaming that, oh, maybe it's my mouse grip that's ruining my aim, because I know that, okay, today I'm exhausted, or I'm distracted, or my neck hurts, and all these different things. So it like helps. Like I feel like now that I've meditated daily for like, I had a 400-day meditation streak once per day, up to 40 minutes, and yeah, this like really put me in touch with my body. But at the same time, I don't think that the normal person is so detached from themselves as I am. So I don't think you guys have to like worry about that as much, or at least most of you. The thing is that since it's like there is some benefit to this mindless headbanging grind of 5,000 hours. Like it did build my reflexes and give me like this subconscious stuff. Like for example, like whenever I play, I'm just like suddenly, without even thinking, maybe I even call it out in voice, like, okay, Nano Blade is coming, and it comes literally 3 seconds after, and I can't even like really fully explain in that moment. Like I wasn't really thinking anything. It just gives me these subconscious timers and just all this game sense and knowledge. So that's like the biggest advantage I got from this, but I don't think that is as big of a deal. Like you guys can get as good as me, but obviously it would take a lot of effort, and I'm still putting 24 hours of every day into hanzo, into making my aim better. But like now I'm making even better choices, so I constantly see myself improving. But I think we should kind of move forward here, because like, so basically to go back to what I talked about, like the first thing that really changed my direction to like become a better player is lowering my sensitivity. So I recommend that you just straight up go for like 5 cents 800 DPI. There are some pro players that make high sensitivity work and they can aim really well with high sense, but from a statistical perspective, like I would say that's maybe even like 1 in 50, 1 in 100. So you have to ask yourself, are you special or are you just like me? Can you make this low sense work, high sense work, or should you just go with low sense? Because the lower your sensitivity, the less accurate you have to be with your mouse movements. And let me just boot up Kovacs there for later when we talk about that stuff. But yeah, the second thing that really changed me, not necessarily like improved my gameplay, or I guess you could say so, but it's more like the mental side of competitive games, especially team-based competitive games. There's so many people, me included, like I'm not saying I somehow got over it, but I got better at handling this and I just try to apply logic. So there's so many people, and I was like this as well, where I would just be so discouraged when I get the team that is obviously worse. If my team is worse than the enemy team, I'm just like, oh, why? I'm so unlucky. But when you really think about it, if you are in your true rank, you're gonna have 50% win rate. You will win half of your games because the enemy team is equally good as you. So there's like a 50-50 chance you win or lose. So this means that you have to lose half of your games. So then you have to think like, well, how am I going to climb? Do I just have to like stomp the games harder that I'm already supposed to win? Like that's not gonna give you more skill rating unless you're in like very low rank, because I'm pretty sure like in Overwatch at least, when like you go below a certain rank and you also get extra skill rating based on your stats or something. But yeah, either way, you have to understand that in order to climb, you have to win these games that you are not supposed to win. You have to show the algorithm that you can win these games that you're not supposed to win. So instead of giving up when the match is way too hard or like the enemy team is way too good, just try your hardest. Because even winning one of these games that are unwinnable, you gain 25 skill rating instead of losing 25 skill rating, or at least in Overwatch 1. If you're watching this in Overwatch 2, I think they're probably going to change the system. But yeah, so that means that just winning one unwinnable game, you will be 50 skill rating higher than where you're supposed to be according to the algorithm, because you won that match that you weren't supposed to win. So just one win makes you climb 50 skill ratings. So just think about that. Like, don't give up when the match is unwinnable. You have to get into this mindset where it's like, okay, finally a match that I can't win. This is where I need to try my hardest, because this is the match that decides if I climb or not. So if it's like just this simple change in my mental really just took me to another level. But it's like, of course, it's like the more you lose in a row, and like, let's say you're getting close to new season high, and then you just lose 5 games in a row, and then you start tilting, and like maybe you're playing at your absolute best the 5 games, but you just get unlucky. Like sometimes the algorithm puts 5 games in a row that you're supposed to lose. And just to like take a break here, like there's so many people that say that like, okay, Blizzard has this tinfoil hat system to force me to lose so that I stay in 50% win rate. Like technically yes, I guess, but technically no. Like that's not a Blizzard thing. That's just a matchmaking thing in general in a team-based game. So it's like, just make sure that you try your hardest on the matches that you feel like are unwinnable, because that's the only way you will climb. And oh my god, I completely forgot what I was going towards. I can't remember if I said, but yeah, oh yeah, I did talk about the inefficient time investment. It's like I have made a lot of guides for you guys, and I'm gonna be talking about what I've done to improve and what I do right now to try to improve. But let's just go more towards the next topic, which is like kind of the physical stuff. So there's so many tiny reasons that, like, so many tiny things that can affect your aim. For example, how clean your hands are. Like, I think this is the smallest thing, and it's like, I'm gonna just say that if you wash your hands really well with soap before you play, your aim will be at least 1% better, because you get rid of these extra oils on your hand, and this gives you a better grip on your mouse. So, but you're gonna be like, but so you're telling me if I just wash my hands, then I'm gonna be as good as you or improve as much as me? But like, no, that's not the point. One tiny thing doesn't really affect much, but let's say you fix like 10 things that each affect your aim by 1%. That's already technically 10% improvement. Like, for example, that stuff that I just, it took me a very long time to, like, maybe even like 4,000 hours of pure gameplay on Hanzo until I started focusing on my posture and setup. And that really held me back. And once I fixed that, I had way less pain. Pain is distracting. Pain makes you like without even realizing, like, kind of change how you sit, and that's gonna fuck with your aim a lot. And like, for example, mouse pad, I never thought about this until like 4,000 hours of gameplay in. Maybe I need to clean my mouse pad. Maybe I need to watch out that I don't just like put my bread on the mouse pad when I'm not chewing on it or something like that. And another thing that really makes it hard to improve is, like, if you have a demanding job, for example, and you come home exhausted and you're gonna play a lot worse. Like, I have the advantage that I play Overwatch as my job, so I can just, like, I'm literally just putting my whole day around playing Hanzo. Like, for example, I try to get enough sleep, and I eat foods that are healthy, and I make sure that, like, okay, let's say I'm playing Overwatch, I'm streaming, I can't just like take a break, but I have to eat something so that I can stay focused. So I get some porridge, for example. Like, I don't eat too much, because that's gonna also make me tired, and gonna make my reflexes slower. I'm gonna think slower, and there's so many tiny things. Like, for example, sleep. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. I did. And just general cleanliness, like what I said, is like just wash your hands, and even this part. A lot of you sweaty gamers forget to wash this part. Like when you wash your hands, just wash this part that's like rubbing against your mouse pad, and that's also gonna give you a more consistent feeling. And you should take good care of your mouse pad. I'm not really the best person to give advice from that. I kind of just now started like thinking about how to like make my mousepad last longer. What I would do is I just buy a new mousepad every 3 months when I start to feel like it's bad, because like I feel like whenever I washed my mousepad, it just didn't feel the same anymore. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but yeah, like what you can do is like at the end of every session, maybe you have a microfiber cloth and you just like wipe the mousepad and just make sure that your hands are washed and clean whenever you're about to touch your mousepad. Because like when you start getting those dead skin cells into the mousepad, it's gonna make so that like parts of the mousepad have different amount of friction, so you can never be consistent. Because once you go on this part of your mousepad with your mouse that has all your dead skin cells, you just like your mouse is just gonna kinda lag behind, and you're gonna miss that shot, and maybe you don't even realize why. And then you're gonna be thinking like, oh, so my flick was just a tiny bit too short. That means I should increase my sensitivity by 10%. And then you become one of those people that somehow have convinced themselves that just changing my sensitivity every 5 minutes is just gonna make my aim better, even though you can't really build any muscle memory, and you have to constantly try to adapt to this new mouse sense. And yeah, like the reason why you really want to figure out all these basics as well is because you need to have as consistent setup as possible in order to figure out the real reason why you play badly. And once you're confident that your setup is consistent, then you can also better focus on figuring out what the real problem is. And usually it is not your setup at that point. It's either just like your aim is just not good enough right now, or it's something in the game, like you're choosing the wrong targets, your positioning is bad, you're standing in the open so everyone expects your shots, you keep trying to shoot at the same guy instead of switching to an easier target. There's so many tiny things on the other side as well, like inside the game that you might be doing wrong that make you miss shots. And I have done some videos that touch on those subjects. I'm gonna do some guide videos on that in the future that like really goes in depth to like the actual game side and this like hidden, kind of like a hidden part of the game that like most people don't even ever think about, like even less people than those who like don't even care about their setup, or who care about their setup or whatever. But so just to like give you like a picture of like what could be, and like inspire you to like fix all these tiny problems. Because another problem with not fixing all this stuff is whenever you're like one of those people who are like, it's not a big enough deal, then it's like, so like why does it matter how big of a deal it is if it affects your aim? Like you're still gonna get mad when you miss your shots or lose a game, but at the same time you've found something that affects your aim a tiny bit, but you don't think it's a big enough deal. But yeah, so then anytime you brush something off, it becomes easier to brush something else off, and maybe something bigger. So you have to, in my opinion, just really obsessively fix even the tiniest things, because if you don't, then it's way harder for you to figure out if the problem that you're having is inside the game or if it's physical on your setup in your body or something like this. So like food, for example, maybe you're the kind of person who like you get out of work, you're exhausted, and then you're gonna eat like very fatty pizza, and that's just gonna like put you into a coma, and then you queue up for a comp, and you just suck. And then on the weekends, you queue up, and you're maybe eating more healthy because you didn't have to work, so your inhibitions or whatever are not so low, so you can like control yourself better, and you're not exhausted from work, and you pop off on Saturday and Sunday every time, and it just frustrates you how you suck during the week and actually pop off on the weekends, and you're gonna like make up these lies in your head, or like it's like, oh well, I guess people are just like way better at communicating during the weekends, and that's why I'm popping off harder, you know? Like, you get my point. It's like, if you don't fix the basics, then if you don't fix the basics and you don't focus on how the basics affect you, then you're gonna make these bad judgments that are just gonna, instead of improving you, permanently get you stuck, make it impossible for you to improve. Like, you kind of wanna sometimes question yourself and like, wait, well, could this be the reason, or have I been thinking wrong the whole time? But I'm just gonna read you guys a list here. So like, reasons why your aim could suck is maybe your monitor is so dirty that it's harder to focus your eyes into the game, and maybe this is only problem after you played like 2.5 hours and your eyes are getting more tired. So it's already harder for you to focus on the monitor. But now there's also, since your monitor is dirty, you just like, your eyes just keep like unfocusing from the game and focusing on the dirt on your monitor, like your screen, computer screen, for you EU gamers who don't know what a monitor is. And maybe your chair is too low or high. It could be some kind of basic setup issue. And just like reiterate, like, you might be thinking, but that's not a big deal if my monitor is a bit dirty. And that's true. Like I said before, small things add up to make a big deal. So maybe there's something wrong with your setup. Maybe your mousepad is dirty, all this stuff I said before. Just like, you probably want to watch some kind of posture guide where you basically just want to be sitting straight so that like you don't have to hunch forward or like put your shoulders into your ears in order for you to aim. Like, just a comfortable, good posture position, not like too far back or too far forward. This is also going to make it so that you are less likely to hurt yourself, and pain is the most distracting thing you can feel during a match. And one thing that really fucked me over personally was my backrest. Like, I was always told like, oh, my posture is bad, which is this, so I have to put my chair as far forward as possible. And now I'm basically like kind of hunching forward at all times, and since I have very wide shoulders, these wings would push my shoulders forward a bit, and this kind of like ruins my range of motion on my arm. So the same moment that I just like went a bit further back, I have it 3 notches more back than what the most forward option is, and I just felt way more comfortable. It was way easier for me to focus, since I didn't have to suffer every time I sit on my chair. And yeah, that was just a huge change, and I couldn't believe that I spent like over a year. Like, I didn't even think about it. I just one day I was like, okay, I guess I should just start playing like this, and that just made it so bad. Yeah, that was like one of the biggest dumb tiny mistakes that I did that like affected me the most. Like I said, it could be a dirty mousepad, or maybe you want to look hot while you play video games, so you have like a nice long-sleeved shirt. Get rid of that fucking shit. Like, no. You don't want anything restricting. Also, check out my hanzo amulet. But yeah, so also I always take off my watch, because that's just, even though it's not on my mouse hand, it still feels weird when I like put my hand on the keyboard, and that kind of distracts me, and it just feels like I can't relax because I'm just like pressing the watch against the desk and all this stuff. And maybe it's something as simple as something is moving on your second monitor. Like, let's say your girlfriend is sending you cute gifs on Discord while you're playing, and you can just constantly see this moving cat image on your peripheral vision, and that's gonna make it harder for you to focus on the screen. And maybe on top of that, your eyes are dry and you don't use eye drops. Maybe your eyes are tired as well. Maybe your monitor is dirty, and you combine all of these, and suddenly anytime your girlfriend DMs you on Discord, you just like go over this threshold and start playing like shit. And that's not your girlfriend's mistake. That's your mistake for not really like caring about these tiny things. Like, I don't think you guys understand how much it affects your aim if you can't really focus your eyes into the game correctly. Because you're always supposed to look at where you want to shoot. You don't just stare at your crosshair. You want to focus your eyes into the game and look at the head of the target, and then keep looking at the head of the target, and then move your crosshair to where you want it to be, which is the head of the target. So that's one thing. And maybe you're just tilted or hungry or tired or exhausted from work. Maybe you're just horny or dehydrated. Maybe you're just distracted by thoughts or something that happened to you, and you're just worried or sad or something. Maybe you're just in love. Maybe you just broke up, and that's why you just can't focus, and you're not motivated to improve and play your best. And you're just playing Overwatch to try to hunt this good feeling, even though it comes from playing your best and improving. Like, that's the purest form of happiness, is when you actually achieve, when you work, not even when you achieve something, but when you work towards achieving your goals. That's the healthiest way to feel good, in my opinion. But yeah, there's so many other tiny things that it could be. Like, for example, I just disabled the Wi-Fi on my router after rereading my mouse's notebook about how to use it, because it said that if there's a Wi-Fi thing within 2 meters, it can affect the quality of the mouse movement. So I shut Wi-Fi down just in case. And also, like, having the Wi-Fi receiver the correct distance away from the mouse, because apparently, at least my mouse, which is the Starlight, you're not supposed to have it too close to the mouse. So there's all these tiny things. There's unlimited things you can improve inside the game, and almost unlimited things you can improve like outside the game. Did I say outside the game as well twice? Unlimited amount of things you can improve in the game, and almost unlimited outside the game. Okay, but yeah, let's get back to the next thing, which is like what I'm doing now to improve, not necessarily what I did in the past. We kind of went through this. So right now, what I'm trying to do to improve is I lowered my sense to be lower than I would even recommend myself, because like it gets very difficult. I've kind of had to change my positioning and just the way I play and the way I aim completely to help with this very low sense. But like I really just want to go as low sense as possibly I can, since the lower my sense, the less accurate my mouse movement has to be, like I said before. So the biggest problem I ran into with this was not really that it's hard for me to like fight in close range, because I can make up for that. I played the game so much that I know when someone is flanking, because I see like, okay, the tracer is not here, So that means there's 2 other places she could be. Both of them are behind me. So I'm just gonna turn around and wait for her. But like, if you're not at the top level, I really wouldn't recommend going this low with your sense, because you're just gonna lose the fight if you start turning after you already get shot from behind. Like, there's not really anything you can do at that point with the very low sense. And if you're a new player, you're relying less on sound and game sense and more just like looking around a lot to try to spot enemies, because you don't really know where they normally come from and all this stuff. So I would say that, like, if you're high sense Andy, just drop it down to 5 sense 800 DPI. And yeah, it's very important that you go like 5 sense 800 DPI, because like your true sense is your like in-game sense multiplied by your mouse DPI. So if you have 1600 DPI, then you would go with 2.5 sense. Like, that's the starting point I recommend for someone who's like running very high sense. But of course, you will need a big mouse pad. And I've talked about this in many videos. I talk about this on my stream all the time. But yeah, like, you need a big mouse pad. If you don't have space for it, then that's unlucky. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. If you're gonna be playing high sense, there's like a 99% chance that you're gimping yourself extremely hard. Like the higher you go in sense, the worse you will be compared to what you could be. So low sense, in my opinion, is just do it. Like, the chance that you are one of these few people that can make high sense work is just very low. Like, maybe if you play Overwatch, you're like a Genji player, then you could go with like maybe even 8 sense 800 DPI. But then you got kind of stuck playing only Genji. And that's not fun. This is not fun. What else? Okay, so Tile Frenzy. Let me show you the... This is what I use, like, to like learn to accept this bigger range of motion on my mousepad. Is Tile Frenzy 180, and then I do the small version. Like, let me just show the big one here. So as you can see, this like makes me shoot all these boxes at almost a 180 degree angle. So this teaches me to like use the whole mousepad when aiming, because like now that I have very low sense, I had to learn to like use the whole mousepad to my advantage to feel comfortable moving my mouse at any part of the mousepad. And this is just like, there's this very hot take, very controversial opinion I have, which is like, if you want to improve your aim, don't grind Kovacs. Like, I feel like Kovacs and stuff like this, it's only good for the basics, because in the end, aiming is mostly about prediction. And in Overwatch, for example, you're always moving while you're shooting, but in Kovacs, you're just standing still. You're never gonna be really able to consistently stand still in Overwatch. So this kind of just teaches you a bad habit of maybe standing even still, or it just makes you frustrated because you go into Kovacs and you get the new high score, then you go into Overwatch and suddenly you have to keep moving, but you're used to standing still, so you just miss more shots. And let me make sure I didn't miss something, because I feel like I did. There was an important thing about... oh yeah, so what I think Kovacs is good for is more like warming up. And not necessarily even warming up. I feel like I literally have to play comp if I want to really warm up. So I have a second account for warming up in comp, which is like a tiny bit lower skill rating, obviously, because I play on it when I'm not warmed up. And for me, the Kovacs warm up means more like, okay, I'm just gonna boot up Kovacs and I'm gonna be like, okay, it feels like something is wrong. So then I'm gonna be like, okay, what is... Oh, I forgot to put my backrest to the correct position. Or like, wait a minute, how did my desk get lower suddenly? Or like, oh, my monitor is not angled towards me, it's like a bit tilted. or wait a minute, I normally sit way more this way on front of my desk, and it's like it's more just to like figure out like if your setup is correct, because if you just go straight into competitive mode, you can't just like start messing around with your setup in the middle of a comp game. So you kind of just have to take it and play with an unoptimized setup. And especially once you start putting a lot of effort into this, you just get very infuriated. You get very mad when you have to play on an like a suboptimal setup. But yeah, so Kovacs, in my opinion, it's more good for checking your setup and getting used to changes in your setup. Like I said, like I'm using this to get used to lower sense, because that I need to get used to using the whole mousepad. So with Kovacs, I can do that. Like I've been using this low sense for like 2 weeks now, and I still sometimes just kind of forget myself and start using a smaller pad of the mouse pad, or like go to the wrong grip or something. And then after the match, I just boot up Kovacs in queue and do this thing that I showed you guys, like just a couple times, and it will immediately like remind me like, okay, yeah, never mind. I need to like feel like it needs to feel this way. Like I don't really know how to explain it better. It's more just like learning how to feel when everything is okay, when your setup is good. And if it doesn't feel good, then you need to figure out, is it because there's something wrong with your setup, or is it because you went to the gym and your back hurts? And that's also one thing I forgot to mention, is like I've taken this so far, and since I do this as my job, that for example, like I go to the gym because I want to improve in Overwatch, and I want to have more energy, to be a better entertainer, more talkative. But at the same time, if I go to the gym before playing Hanzo, it kind of like slows down my brain a bit, because I'm recovering after gym. So I always go to the gym after I'm done playing or streaming, not before. There's just so many things you can optimize. But yeah, finally, just to like talk a tiny bit more about Kovacs, is like, just remember that like, if you really want to improve in Overwatch competitive mode, you can't play Kovacs all the time. You can't play quick play all the time. Both of these will teach you bad habits, because Kovacs is all about getting that high score and hitting your targets as fast as possible. But in a real life in-game situation, you want to aim for, like, you want to just get those headshots. And if you have extra time to hit a target, you want to take that extra time. Like, let's say, like a kind of a strawman example is, you're playing Kovacs, you're flicking to the targets as fast as possible, you get into a match, and someone sleeps the enemy tracer, and you got 2 seconds to move your crosshair to her head. But instead, you just like try to flick to the head in a millisecond, and you just miss your target. Because you have to remember, the faster you move your mouse from point A to point B, the less consistent that movement will be. Whew. And then finally, just like something really advanced, like I don't even want to talk about it too much because you guys just get bored, but like I've put so much research time, effort, in whatever you want to call it, into just trying to figure out the best mouse grip. And I've done all these like tiny tricks where I like lift the back of my mouse from the mouse pad briefly to force myself to grip it in a way that I can actually lift the back of my mouse. And then like this makes my grip more consistent, easier and faster to find the right grip, all this stuff. And like I'm trying to not press my mouse too much against the mouse pad so that there's even less friction, so the movement is so smooth, and I make up for that with low sense and slow movements. And there's just all these things that I'm constantly improving and researching on, and like looking in the internet for new stuff. And something that I've been too lazy, and I'm calling out myself right now, all the way until now, I just didn't watch my own gameplay enough to like try to figure out problems. Like I feel kind of ashamed now just thinking about how like that's such a big part of improving, and I haven't really ever done it consistently. There's been like maybe even like I would say the first 4,000 hours I didn't do it even once. And yeah, like now that I've started doing it, because I'm doing this low sense, and like the reason why I want to be as consistent as possible is also because my new gameplay style, which is like being more like an assassin hanzo. So I take way less shots. I shoot way less, but I stay hidden. I cause fear in the enemy team, which makes them play a bit differently. Like, of course, they're not like fearing for their lives, but like if you get shot by a hanzo, your teammate dies to a hanzo, and no one knows where the hanzo is, they're gonna be distracted looking for that person. And when they finally find the hanzo, they're just gonna overcommit, because it just creates this kind of bias in their brain, or whatever you want to call it, that you have to commit on the hanzo because he got kills and we can never find him, but now we know where he is. So I can even use that to my advantage. There's just so many cool, exciting things. I'm so excited to play Overwatch these days, because I found so many ways to improve, and just so many ways to make the game more fun, and just make my gameplay look more impressive, which is like I just want my gameplay to be so clean, and just all my movement. I want to be the kind of player that when you get me in the match, after that it's gonna be mind blown. Like, what the hell? What was I supposed to do there? You know, like, and the only way to make someone feel that way is to outplay them with positioning and mind games. And yeah, so that's like my newest obsession, in addition to just having the cleanest possible aim ever. And yeah, I think that's basically it. 47 minutes. I would normally plug my stream here, but like if you listen to me for 47 minutes, you probably already watched my stream. But like if for some reason you don't watch my stream, then consider checking me out live on Twitch. Come hang out. You can even type stuff in the chat if you want, ask me questions. I try to read all the messages and answer you guys, but like sometimes I do miss stuff, especially if I'm mid-game, so I apologize for that. Also, if you did actually watch me for 50 minutes straight and you're still here, then consider telling me in the comment section below, or if you're too shy, at least press that like button, so this way I know if anyone actually enjoyed the content and if I should make more, because you know, it was so scary to upload this video since it's like completely different from my normal stuff. So yeah, like it's just a big dream of mine to do this podcast style stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed. But either way, if you want to support me and you need a VPN, check out expressvpn.com/arge. If you want to support me but you don't need a VPN, then you know, just check out my socials. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.